You guys are live.
All right, thank you, everyone. Today is May 6th, 2021, and welcome to East Hampton Village Board Meeting. Thanks for everybody for coming, and we're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. If Kenny, you could lead us in that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Kenny.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm going to start off with a few announcements first. Just an update on Town Pond. It's going very well. Usually Billy gives us the update, but he's on vacation. It's going very well. I talked to Patrick Bistrian this morning, and weather permitting, they should be done by Memorial Day and may even come in a little bit under budget. So we're looking forward to both of those things. The summer monthly beach passes. Marcos, can you give us an update on how that's going?
It's going well. We had a huge flurry of activity at the beginning, and then, like always, it's like kind of trickling in right now. We've got a bunch left for June still, and then we've got about 135 left for July and 167 left for August. So that's well over about $250,000 already for the village with that alone.
That's terrific. And I think people should note that the June permit also includes May 15th through June 30th. So if you want to attend our beaches on Memorial Day weekend, you're going to need to buy this pass. All right, the next update is our Belgian block project, which is on Main Street in Newtown. It's going very well. One side of Newtown is completely finished. Marcos had them do in front of our restaurants first, and now the rest of Newtown will be being done. Update on the street lamps. We had all the street lamps. They're being painted. They're going from green to black. They're almost done. As I'm looking out the window right now, they're in front of the Jitney stop, and they'll finish probably one side of Main Street today and then the other side tomorrow. They're looking really, really good. We also plan on having the Guildhall banners attached to those. We also plan on Main Street, Newtown, there's about 28 hanging plants we're going to attach to some of those lampposts. So it's going to look very nice this summer. Jerry Terza, are you on yet? Well, they go to the chief. Chief, are you on? Just give an update. Do you have the dates for the planned fireworks?
I don't think he's on yet.
All right. I believe, Marcos, do you have the dates? I think it's August 21st with a rain date of the 22nd. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Hopefully everything will be open. It looks like everything's going to be open by then. So it looks like we'll be able to have our annual fireworks. We wanted an update. Remind me to go back. We want to get an update on the Memorial Day services. We're not having a parade, but we are having a celebration, which Jerry Terza will fill us in on when he signs in. All right, so that moves us to our first presentation, which is Hugh King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to report to the board that on June 25th and 26th, we were supposed to have a show at Guildhall that I put together on the life and times of John Howard Payne. However, that's been postponed, probably till the fall. For the next three meetings, since Home Sweet Home is open, by the way, everyone, we're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sunday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we have masks and social distancing, okay? We have to talk about the windmills, whether you want to open up the Hook windmill. If the board feels that we should open the mill, then we need to find a couple of people to work at the mill. I've been in touch with Julianne Lester and Silas Jones, who worked there before, but I don't know what their plans are for the summer. And speaking of Julianne Lester, Mr. Mayor, I also contacted her and talked to her. She's planning a tour, an historical tour. Okay, and I told her I'd work with her on that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. She's very excited about that.
Yeah, she's very good.
She's got her own script already.
Yep. So, well, we'll just need to check it, but
right.
Yeah, but
Factually check it, yes.
yeah, but
Fact check it.
she's big time. I think she'd do a great job. Okay, so what am I talking about? I'm talking about, oh yeah, Home Sweet Home and the windmills, okay? We have to make a decision about the Hook windmill, whether we're going to open or not. We can do it at the next meeting if you want.
Okay,
At the next meeting, I'm going to talk about the house, Home Sweet Home, and the song. And at the June meeting, I'm going to talk about the life of John Howard Payne because that's when his birthday was. Okay. Now, today, are you going to be talking about the centennial celebration in 2021 in September?
yes,
Okay, I'm going to try to stay on. Okay. And are you going to
Okay.
are you going to be talking about the budget today too?
yes.
Okay, I'm going to try to stay on too. All right, that's it. I'll leave you. You got plenty to do. Okay.
Okay. So the other thing, Hugh, don't forget, the next board meeting, we're going to dedicate, we have the dedication for former Mayor Doug Dayton. We're going to dedicate much more lane, so I'm going to need a presentation from you on that.
I have it. It's ready. We're ready to
Okay.
go.
Great.
Okay.
All right, so now we're going to go to Glenn Vickers and Carol Hayes from the Chamber of Commerce. Everybody knows Glenn. He was the former executive director at the YMCA. Welcome, Glenn. And everybody knows Carol. We love Carol. She's in charge of the manager at the Maidstone Inn and also works with the Chamber of Commerce. And she's a wonderful person. And we're glad to have you too, Carol.
Thank you.
So go ahead, you two.
Okay. Glenn?
Glenn, you're muted.
Can you hear me now? All right, fantastic. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
All right, beautiful. Thanks so much. I was speaking to to the muted button for a moment. So first and foremost, I appreciate you guys taking a moment to have us on the agenda for today. Currently, I'm in the capacity as both president of the Discover the Hamptons, which focuses predominantly on economic development and tourism within the towns of East Hampton and Southampton, and working in partnership with the region. And then as well as board president for the East Hampton Chamber. So we have a lot of really fun things to share with you guys today. I'll go down the list. Each of you guys right now have a copy of a breakdown of things that have happened during the pandemic. We've been very active in terms of regional advocacy, in terms of downtown revitalization work and economic development by way of the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, the EIDL, PPP, all the above. So we have been counseling a lot of businesses that were unable to really navigate through those waters. But we've told people, book an appointment, meet with our team. If you have any issues or problems, but there is funding out there for you. Please make sure that you're active to apply for it because many of these pots of monies will dissipate. Currently what we're doing with your permission, and we thank you guys for your collaboration. We're currently going into the second week of Wellness East Hampton. That's a collaboration with several entities to be able to get things going again. Again, post-pandemic, we canceled all of our festivals clearly for most of 2020 or all of 2020 and 2021. So Wellness East Hampton is taking place from May 1st to the 23rd. And basically what we're doing is really getting people outside to activate Herrick Park. There's an array of activities ranging from a wellness festival, a wellness market, and then also small group fitness classes that range from different levels of mindfulness and exercise to get people out. And then we're also providing walking tours that take place every Wednesday as well. For more information about that, you can log on to the Chamber website or Discover the Hamptons. And again, that's a multi-tiered partnership between obviously the Village, James Lane Post, Discover Long Island, East Hampton Chamber, and Discover Long Island. The other piece, which is resonating with a lot of the local businesses, seasonal and year-round, there is a need for hiring. And this is the same thing that happens every single year. So we actually were fortunate enough to get some additional funding by way of our partners at Discover Long Island. So we will be pushing out an aggressive hiring in the Hampton Job Fair initiative. It will be a heightened digital plan that will push out visibility for opportunities. This is a free feature for all chamber members. All you need to do is log onto your account, update the information on the website, and all of the Google SEO, Facebook targeting, Instagram targeting will direct back to that posting. So if you have any jobs, please get them uploaded on our website, and that's directly at easthamptonchamber.com. We are putting a application in. Not only is it going to be a digital job fair, we would like to be able to put in 1 or 2 physical activations in the village, and we'll get that application in for your review. But we definitely have strong opinions to be able to help the business community fill the needs. It's great to have people here, but if you don't have the bandwidth to be able to service people, it's a lost opportunity for everybody. Going down the list, and let me know if you have any questions as I'm going down. Going down the list, we will be bringing back the movies on Main Beach. Again, we were able to get the approval from you guys at that point. We are really hyper-focused on family-friendly movies, for this initiative. And the other benefit of it is that 100% of the audio is only in the cars, which is great. So to be mindful of our neighbors and while still providing the service for everyone in the community. So the first movie will take place later on this month, and per the permit approval that we received from the village, we'll be doing them once, twice a month up until the end of the year. And each season will have a different theme to resonate with local families. And then in terms of the chambers after our networking events, we did cancel all of those in 2020, obviously because of the pandemic. We are looking to bring those back as things have opened up. Again, enforcing social distancing, PPE, mask, all the above. But we do want to start moving forward to get people collaborating and back-to-back face-to-face interaction again. What I will do here is pass it on to Carol Hayes, who's our business and community liaison, and she'll explain 2 of the additional projects we would like to get the blessing of the village to move forward to help our local businesses and economy.
Yes, hi. We would like to add 2 events to the summer schedule. The first one, we're imagining a Thursday night makers market as a downtown village-centric event, enabling people to shop, socialize, and share our community resources in a relaxed, family-friendly setting. We will follow the fine example of the Sunday morning farmers market, but instead of produce, it will showcase the products of our creative and talented local artists and makers. We are fortunate to have an abundance of this particular resource in the Hamptons, and there has been an unprecedented interest already in this event. As the success of relocating the farmers market has proven, increased foot traffic in the village is good for all business in the village. We can use our spaces to provide more for the community, and that's what we're trying to target. Taking this into account, we also have sunset sessions, 2 hours of live music at the pavilion on Main Beach, 6 to 8 p.m. on Tuesday evenings, again providing an opportunity for residents to enjoy a shared experience and promote community. So those are the 2 that we're aiming for at this moment.
It's terrific. Thanks,
And then
Carol. It's really, it's a lot of information, a lot of things going on. This summer looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully with the pandemic behind us, and we can enjoy all of these things.
Now, we have one last thing, which is actually good news, and this is through our affiliation with the East End Tourism Alliance. A lot of the year-round work we do really goes around shoulder season, weekday, because we already know how busy it can be during peak season on the East End. But how do we help balance out the opportunities for businesses and tourism in the community to benefit economically? So through the East End Tourism Alliance, I'm a member of that. That's a collaboration between the North Fork and the South Fork. We were awarded a grant through New York State prior to the COVID-19. We were able to get an extension to be able to implement it now. So it's a 3-season campaign. There's a sizable budget that will be pushed on both forks to be able to help promote it. One of them will be called Stay and Play. That will be a June, July, August promotion focused on weekday economic development. Because again, we know what it looks like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but what happens when we have that dip Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? The other campaign, which will run September and October, will be Oktoberfest. Again, that's going to be a regional push. And then the last one will be Holidays in the Hamptons, which will be November and December. So all we're asking, as this information gets out to the public, that local businesses, public-private partners, just jump on part of these themes and campaigns. We'll give directions on how you guys can engage. Again, it's a perk and built-in value add as being a member to the Chamber of Commerce. but great ways to be able to help balance out your shoulder season activity as well. And then last part would be in 2022, we would like to, as things continue to open back up, get back on schedule to bring back the fall, spring, and summer festivals. Again, we're here to really move forward collectively as a group and safely, but keeping that in mind for the future, we definitely would like to be able to move forward. Last thing, second last thing, we're telling all businesses, go on easthamptonchamber.com. There are some resource links with the Department of Labor as well as Suffolk County. So if you're unfamiliar with the resources, funding, or support for your business for workforce development or recruitment, we are working collectively with the county to help bring those resources to you. And lastly, I just want to, on a sidebar, thank Chief Tracy for all the work on the police reform committee. I had the pleasure to serve on that committee, and the information was informative. I just really enjoyed all the information and all the hard work. So I just wanted to publicly thank Chief Tracy for his commitment to that task and that work.
Thank you, Clint.
All right. Well, thank you very much, both of you, and we look forward to working hand in hand with the chamber as we move forward. So
thank you.
thanks, Carol. Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you.
So before we start our next presentation, I just wanted to give you a little background on this subject. So whether you know it or not, the New York State has passed a law that legalizes a certain amount of personal possession of marijuana, even growing certain amounts of marijuana. What they did not pass was a law that allows the selling of the marijuana at different locations. So they've left that up to each municipality. And in order to opt out of that, in order to stop somebody from opening a store selling marijuana, this board would have to pass legislation by December 31st, opting out. So we do have some time to make a decision, but in the meantime, Nina Fern has asked to come on and give us some background and information about this marijuana legislation. So, hi, Nina.
Hi. Thank you
Thanks for
having
coming
me.
on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I know you're very, very passionate about this subject, so I thought it would be great, not just me hearing the information, but the entire board and the public. So please feel free to start whenever you'd like.
Great. Thank you for allowing me to join this platform for it. I think it's a really important conversation. I have a blog. I retired from finance when I was 40. Now I'm 50. And my donation to the cannabis industry was out of a few things. My love of the plant. I've had a relationship with it since I'm a teen. And also just my concern for the public. I felt extremely strongly that this is a medication, whether people realize it or not, it is a medication. It helps our physical, mental, and spiritual health. And I felt very strongly that we should not have fake reviews in this industry. It's just not how it should go. That was my donation. So I traveled, I invested in the space initially, and then I recognized all of the holes that were out there. And I traveled the US, Canada, and Amsterdam, literally to try to be the Michelin guide, which I did receive press for, the Michelin of weed and the intellectual periodical. And I met the people in this space. I saw the highs and the lows, what works, what doesn't, and the understanding of the plant and what it takes to make medication as opposed to some junky thing that we're just going to inhale and infect our kids with. So this is what I did. And now I'm here, I'm a resident, and we come to East Hampton, and already there's a few issues that I have great concern with. One is we're allowed to possess 3 ounces of marijuana, which is a lot of marijuana. We're also allowed to grow it, but there isn't a place to buy it, which is a huge problem because what does that mean? It means that cannabis is in the lives of many people that need it for many different reasons. We're coming to a place, they're gonna land, there's no place to buy it. So what happens? They go to a drug dealer. And this is a huge problem because we have to meet the world where they are. The world is down and out. Our children are down and out. And when you go to a drug dealer, and not only are they offering you things that don't have lab tests, they have many things behind it. And we also have to deal with social media. So we're in a place where everyone is saying just wake and bake and smoke all day, which is a problem. They're also touting MDMA right now, which I'm a huge proponent of in a therapy setting. But if you're a kid and now you want to fight your depression and now you're going to a drug dealer and you're buying their MDMA, the reality is 80% of the MDMA is laced with fentanyl through a dealer. So I think these are things you really have to think about. That I understand it's a bad look to think that anyone would be walking up and down Newtown Lane smoking pot. It is a bad look. But that has nothing to do with the dispensary in town. The dispensary in town is responsible for education. It's responsible for putting out a clean product that is sound. Many dispensaries don't. I've seen many states where you put the wrong dispensary, people will walk in and say, how high can I get for $20? And then in the right place with the right tone and the right approach, the people who are walking in and out are the same people who are walking in and out of every other store on Newtown Lane. So it depends how it's presented, but I do think at this point we should really consider safety and keeping people away from drug dealers. I don't think saying no out of a fear that the town may look bad or not, or will bring an unsavory crowd is really fair, because I think that has a lot to do with Cuomo and those rules. Because if they want to walk up and down the street, which is a bad look, they're going to do it anyway, but now they're going to be doing it with illegal weed. So I just think these are all things to consider that I think you could be proud to say yes. And I think you could be proud to say, we're going to do it. We're going to do it right. You'll not only be comfortable, but you'll be proud. There'll be a very specific point of view as far as quality, which is a huge conversation that I have a specific point of view on it. You can see it on my website. But I feel strongly we have to do it for this reason alone, and that is to stay away from the drug dealers. It's a huge problem, and it's unfortunate that we have this time frame to allow this bad stuff to happen, because bad stuff can happen if it's not treated responsibly. You know, the drug isn't irresponsible. It's the people who use it that are irresponsible. So that's my take on it. I think we should opt in, and I think you could be proud to opt in. And I think there's very good reasons to opt in that have a lot to do with the health of our community and our children.
Thanks, Nina. That was very informative. And does anybody have any questions from the board for Nina? Anyone?
No
All right.
questions, but thank you.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks, Nina. Thanks for coming on. And, we're not taking any action on this today.
I know.
We have plenty of time to make a decision on this. And I would just like to be clear for the Star, if you're listening, this board is not taking any action on this. We are not legalizing the sale of marijuana in the village. I just want to be very clear. We just asked Nina to come on to give us a little more information so we could be more informed. Again, we are not legalizing the sale of marijuana in East Hampton Village. I want to be clear. And that's all I have to add. We're going to look at this carefully and see what the agencies around us do. And then we'll make a more informed decision as we get closer to that deadline. So thanks, Nina. Thank you very much for coming on.
I'm going to change your mind. You'll see.
I had a question. Nina, can you tell us your website?
Yeah.
It's Hiley.co. So THEHIGHLY.co, C-O. And you can see all of my reviews. I encourage you to look through the newsletters. I do believe it's done with the pioneers of the space who have a very clear point of view, and you can learn something from all of them. We cover many topics, from addiction to how to grow. I also think growing your own would be a really wonderful thing for this community. I think it really connects us to nature, to ourselves. and being empowered in our own healthcare. So just throwing that one out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think there's a lot of education that does need to go on. Certainly for me, my experiences with weed go back a long, long time. And there has been a long, long time since I've imbibed, or whatever the word is. And I understand that things are a lot different now. And I think there's a lot of education we need to get on this, so before we can make any kind of reasonable decision.
I completely agree. And I think a lot of the education is, one, how is it grown? And something to consider is it in soil or not? Some people would say that's the difference, that's a huge difference to always consider. But there's also education around what is intuitive medicine and how do we listen to our body? And how do we dosage this thing so that we don't become addicted and understand the tolerance stance? And well, I agree with you. There should be a lot of education, and it covers such a range from dosaging to dealing with your own medications. So, yeah, I'm right there with you.
I know there's been a lot of talk, but some of the concerns I've heard, Nina, are if we legalize it, we're going to have more intoxicated drivers on the road. And obviously, you know, I'm a former chief of police, so that seems to be a major concern. And the ability for police to even test for this is very difficult. So how do you answer those concerns? Can you, or?
I can. One, I think it has to be treated like alcohol. I mean, there should be signs everywhere. If you're high, Uber. I mean, that's one thing. Second thing is the sad reality of it. The sad reality of it is that it's in everybody's lives. So even if you don't sell it here, people are going to be driving through here. And I think there should be steep fines, and I think there should be ordinances. And I think that, look, we can't control what people do, but we shouldn't allow it. And we should really just encourage Ubers, staying home, taking rides, but it doesn't really fall on the town of East Hampton. I mean, we just can't control these things. I mean, it's a tourist community in the summer. Where are people coming from? California. I mean,
right.
They're going to come here, and it is part of their lives. Many people smoke daily. You know, another way you could put it is, in the states that do legalize it, it shows within 3 years, 25% of opioid deaths go down. So you're helping your community in a different way. But again, I think it all spins into education, and it all spins into the responsibility of the person consuming it and educating them, as opposed to demonizing the plant, which is an innocent medication from Mother Nature.
Right.
But Uber while you're high would be a great campaign.
No, it's great. I mean, like, I agree with Tiger. We have a lot to learn about this, and we have a few more months before we have to make a decision. So it gives us time.
Gives you time. I think just throwing it out there, a great location is even by the train. So, you know, you smoke, you hop on a train, you come off the train, you grab an Uber. It kind of ties into a healthy cycle, as opposed to being in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, there are other things to consider. You know, why do some places have this stoner vibe? A lot has to do with location. So, you know, I think it should be in the mix. It shouldn't be away from the mix.
Okay. Any other questions, anyone? Thanks again, Nina. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, Nina.
All right. Next up, we have our work session and discussion. And I just want to, before we get into that, I just want to make it clear again, the village board is not legalizing the sale of marijuana anywhere in the village or at the train station. Want to be clear.
Mr. Mayor, I think Chief Terz is back.
Chief Terz, are you on?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Sorry about that.
Good morning. Could you just fill us in What did he have, Marcos? Fireworks?
Memorial Day celebrations.
And the Memorial, we already did the fireworks, the Memorial Day celebration, Chief.
Yes, sir. So the fire department will be hosting a Memorial Day observance like we did last year on the 31st at 10 a.m. at the Hook Mill Green. We've invited representatives from both of our veterans groups, the VFW and the American Legion, to come down. I believe that the commanders of both of those posts each have something to say. And we were planning on having our ladder truck fly the American flag as we did last year. And we're just encouraging people to come down, maintain the social distancing, and the face coverings, and whatever other guidelines are in place over the next few weeks. But we were able to pull something off last year in the midst of a pandemic. And in the absence of a parade, we felt that this was the right thing to do for the community.
It's terrific, Jerry. Thanks for heading that up.
Not a problem.
Thanks. One more thing I forgot to mention. We found out yesterday that Regal Theater on Main Street will be opening May 21st. So that's good news. So we'll have our movie theater back. We'll have our crowds back. Looking forward to that. All right, here we go. Term limits for mayor. It's a discussion we would like to have. I'm in favor of having term limits for this office. Does anybody have any comments about that?
I think the term limits are probably a good idea. I think we have to be cognizant. I mean, we could also put term limits in for the board as well. I think when I've talked about term limits, I've talked to people about 12 years of term limits. That'd be 3 terms. I don't know, Mr. Mayor, what do you have in mind on that time frame?
I was also thinking about the 3 term limit, or maybe even 4, depending on the only municipalities around us that I found was Southampton Town, who have a 16-year term limit. They have 8, they're 2-year terms, so they have 8 terms for a total of 16 years. So I was thinking either that or the 12. And then I asked our lawyer to do some research on other municipalities to see what they did. Vinny, do you have any info on that?
He's having trouble logging on right now, I think.
Okay. All right. Tiger, I didn't want to put term limits on the board simply because if there's a board member who is on who would like to be run for mayor one day, I think it would that would kind of eliminate them from that position unless we made it very specific that you could only do so many years as a trustee and then you can only do so many years as a mayor. I just thought if we kept it as the mayor, it might be simpler. That was only my thought.
Yeah, I think, there is something to be said for that. But again, I think we need to be very cognizant that we do not want to become sclerotic as a board. We need to have turnover. We need to have new voices. We need to have younger voices. I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to solicit thoughts from the public on this. So anyone that's listening to this meeting, you can shoot an email to the mayor or any one of us or to June at Village Hall and let us know what you think.
Anyone else?
I do believe that we should put the terms, and I agree, we should be doing it for both. With the right language, if someone wants to run for mayor after being trustee, we can do it and just don't preclude them from that run. So I think we could do it.
So what's your suggestion, Sandra? How many years?
I like the 12 or 16. I'm okay with that, but I think for trustees, we should do the 12, 3 terms.
Yeah, and also, Mr. Mayor, we could do it where you could serve 3 terms and then sit a term out and then come back and serve another 3 terms if you wanted to make your life.
Yeah, I don't know who would.
Yeah, I like the idea of the term limits as well, and the 12 years would be fine. I agree with Tiger. After a while, ideas can become stagnant, and you have a lot of fresh and new ideas in the beginning and drive to accomplish, what you want to achieve. So, and term limits for trustees might be a good idea as well. And ultimately, the people I think decide. In the past about term limits. They vote us in if they are agreeing with our platform and the mission. But I do agree that 12 years would be a good idea. I think that's what like the mayor in the city does and so forth. So I don't know about other municipalities, but yeah, I agree.
Chris?
Yeah, I agree with everyone too. I mean, one thought would be to have, the mayor's term limit, I think is the most important one. Whether that be 3 or 4, like we've mentioned. And, as for the trustees, to Rose's point, everyone still has to get voted in. So, maybe the trustees can have one more term so that if, for example, they're a trustee for 3 terms and there's the same mayor, then they get, an extra term chance to be mayor for 4 more years. And that would give them, 20 years on the board, and or a hybrid of some kind of version. I think we're all on the same page and just hammering out the details. But I think it really starts with getting what we want the mayor's seat to be, and then the trustees as well. So I'm happy to open it up to the public and discuss, but I agree with everyone.
All right, so why don't we do this? Why don't we, since Vinny's not on, why don't we do this? Why don't we're all in agreement that there should be something. So why don't we have Vinny do a little research and then draw up some legislation, and then we can look at that when that's done, and then we can tweak that as we go. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, good.
And Vinny's ready to provide the board a memo about this, which is what he wanted me to say.
Okay. All right, great. All right, so next item, Suffolk County Board of Elections, election management. What this is about is taking the election process out of the village and giving it to Suffolk County Board of Elections. So it took them a long time. We asked for this information months and months ago, and it took them a long time to get back to us. And Marcos has the information, so I don't want to misquote it. So Marcos, could you give us the info?
Yeah, I think I originally talked to the board about this in October, and they finally got back to us regarding a full service management by the Suffolk County Board of Elections. It would be roughly about $25,000 versus the $2,000 that we currently do have budgeted for, I should say. And this would include the polling sites, the machines, the printing, the total management, the absentee balloting, absolutely everything. And they said that it would require a special referendum because they cannot do it in June. That's their primaries. So they would have to do it sometime after July 4th. So that's for your consideration.
Yeah, because they moved the primaries to June, so I guess they're very, very busy. So we would have to move the election to another month, say August or September. So before we get too far ahead on this, how does everyone feel about this? Is it something we need to do or not do? I was a big proponent of it, just because as an outsider trying to get in, it felt very unfair to me that the village who were in control were actually handling the election. So it felt odd to me. However, Pam did a great job, and we never had an issue when we did run. So, a lot of that may have been thinking something was going to go wrong, but it didn't go wrong for the most part. There were a few hiccups, but it wasn't on Pam's end. So, Tiger, how do you feel?
I think that the system worked as designed. You really did not end up having any problems getting elected. You got more votes than all the other candidates combined. I think that Pam did a great job in running the election. There was a lot more work in this past election than there had been in probably the prior 10 combined. But having said that, I think it worked well. And frankly, I would rather pay Pam a bit more to run an election than pay the county. And also the fact, I think state village law, I think says that village elections have to be either March or March or June. I don't think we necessarily have an option to move it to August or September. So, but I would leave it as is. I think it works well.
Okay.
And if we end up with a high volume election like this last one, we could certainly contemplate paying a bonus to the village clerk to do so.
Okay.
Mayor,
So,
Vinny Messina is back on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
just-
about the village? What about the village attorney trustee? Shouldn't he get a bonus too?
We'll talk. We can talk about that, Vinny.
just to clear up, we did have Vinny did research the changing the dates, Tiger, and you're correct. In the law, it does say about June and
Right.
and March, but Vinny researched it, and I'll let him speak for himself.
Yeah, sure. You would need state legislation to do that. There are certain villages that have been designated for March, certain others June by virtue of, bills passed in both the state Senate and Assembly signed by the governor. That's not something that they do very often. So, and we would need to sponsor, someone to try to shepherd it through. So it would be difficult, take a while. Not that it couldn't be done, but it's not going to be able to be in effect, I don't think, for the next election, even on
Hey, Vinny, if the board chose to go the route of letting the county handle it, could they move the election? I know June is off the table for our Suffolk County Board of Elections. Could they move it to March?
Again, not without the state legislation.
Oh,
No.
the state would have to legislate that too.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, Chris, how are you feeling?
I think that we had a historic election recently. I don't know when, the village might encounter another one like that. Who knows? But, and I felt the same way you did, Jerry, where it was very nerve-wracking and a little scary as an outsider. However, Village Hall and Pam did a wonderful job. And, maybe we can down the road try to tie up any loose ends, or Pam's got any suggestions that maybe can help her. And, saving $23,000 is not a bad thing. And it did run well. And again, that was a very monumental election. So
Okay.
who knows when that's going to happen again.
All right. Rose, how do you feel about it?
I think, I'd be in favor of keeping it the way it is right now, especially the fact that it would cost us a lot more money to change it. We would also have to change the month and get a state legislature to agree with that. I think there's a lot of hurdles to climb there. And again, I have full faith in, Village Hall, and Pam Bennett always does a great job. I say that I'm fine with the system the way it is now, but I understand it is awkward and nerve-wracking at the same time.
Yeah.
When you're starting.
It is easier for our residents as well.
Absolutely. Everyone's used
Deal
to
with
a
the county
election.
versus trying to deal with Pam. So sorry, Pam. Doesn't look like it's going to go that way. What do you think, Sandra?
I agree. I agree to keep it the way it is.
All right,
It's
so
not
that's
broken.
off. That's off the table. All right,
Pam is the most disappointed of all.
Vinny. Before you logged in,
Yeah, I feel for Pam either way.
Vinny, before you logged in, we were talking about term limits for mayor.
Yeah, sure.
And basically, the feeling of the board is they agree with the term limits for mayor,
Okay.
but they also agree that there should be term limits on trustees.
Okay. So if you want, I will draft and circulate. I'll get to Marcos and he can circulate proposed legislation that accomplishes that. Can you tell me how many terms you wish to limit each office to?
I think the feeling was 12, so 3 terms for each.
The 3
probably.
4-year terms?
It seems like that's what I heard from everybody. Is that anybody change 116?
Do I hear
I'm good
20?
with 12.
12 is fine, but I think trustee should be one more term just in case the trustee wants to stay on. And I'm not talking for me, but I'm just saying it's like what you said, Jerry, before made a lot of sense. If there is a trustee that ends up being on the board, but not the mayor for an unfortunate time frame where the mayor's there for 12 years, then they should at least have a chance to run and be allowed to run for that. Then they would only be there for 4 years and they'd have to leave.
Well, would the term start over again then for the mayor's?
Well, that's a good point, Mayor. And that was my next question. So the issue then becomes, once you decide you want to do term limits, do you want, in essence, a lifetime ban after that term is limited, or can you sit out an election and then come back? Or do you want to make some specified period of time? You have to sit out 5 years. I don't know, something like that.
I think Tiger made a good point. I think if you sat out one term, which is in our case is 4 years,
right,
that's probably reasonable. But
okay.
I think the question comes up, let's say, just use Chris and I, for example. So Chris and I got elected together. I decide to stay for my full term, which would be 12. And then Chris doesn't want to run against me because he's going to beat me, and it would make me, make our friendship cause a problem there. So he sticks around for the extra term, right? Because I'm gone now, and now he's able to run for mayor. Should he then have 12 years as mayor?
Yeah,
I would say yes.
Yes, the way it's typically handled and the way the case law shakes out is if it is a different public office,
right,
it would be, then you can run for it and your term in the other public office does not count.
Good. So why don't we, if
the
everybody's
only thing I would mention is that, by permitting an interruption and then come back, a younger person who runs for the office of trustee, let's say, or even mayor, has a distinct advantage over somebody who's a little older because, the actuarial tables are what they are with respect to our life expectancy, right?
Right.
So, that may or may not be something you thought about, and it may or may not matter. I just throw it out there because it's a consideration. So
why don't we start off with, if you could draw up the legislation that says the mayor for 12 years, trustee for 16.
Okay.
And then if a trustee who is in any part of that term then becomes mayor to be for 12-year term. And anybody who runs for an office and is in that office and then is out or is maxed out on the term limit has to sit out for one term. I think that works.
Okay.
That'll give us time. We can all think about it. And then if you have any changes when we get the copy of the law, we can talk about it then. But that's a good starting point.
Okay. I'll get that to you, if not tomorrow, early next week.
That's not, yeah, okay. Thanks.
I can guarantee you, Mayor, I'm not going to serve 16 years.
No, you never know.
This I know, Vinny.
I hear there's new vaccines coming every day.
So the next item up is Chase parking lot, 66 Main Street. So a long time ago, and I don't know when this started, the village negotiated a contract with Chase to provide enforcement of their parking regulations. However, that contract was due for renewal. It's renewal every year, I believe it was. And it was up this year, and I looked at the contract, and I'm really not happy with the terms of the contract. So in order to preserve our right to talk about it today, I had to file a letter with Chase Bank telling them that we are not interested in renewing the contract. And I had to do that because of the time limit. Their contract expires June 30th, and you have to give them X amount of time to get out of the contract. So currently, we are out of the contract as of July 1st. Unless we decide to do something different today, then we can talk to them and get back into the exact contract we're in. But after I lay out this contract, I don't think you're going to want to get in this, or renew it. So basically, we paid the bank $10 a year so that we could enforce their parking, which is 25 parking spots. They also received 15 permits for their employees. So that's Monday through Friday. Basically, 15 of those parking spots were not available for the public, only 10. On the weekends, obviously, the bank is closed, so we would have all 25 parking spots available. However, we also had to maintain that parking lot, which means we have to pave it, stripe it, do the landscaping, fix the potholes, clean out the storm drains, replace storm drains, repave the parking lot. What was the other thing? Plowing, salting. The parking lot also floods. We had to pump out the parking lot. I don't know how many times, but quite a bit according to DPW. So all of that we were doing in order to enforce this parking lot where we were making roughly $10,000 a year in parking fines. So my recommendation is to attempt to renegotiate with Chase that we would charge them a monthly fee of $1,000 to do just the enforcement end of it. And thereby we could offer our public more parking. So let's say the parking lot on the weekends has 25 parking spaces. We could say to the public, you're able to use this parking for 1 hour in time, and that would give us 25 more parking spots to our inventory. We're also, if the board is acceptable to that, we're also reaching out to Citarella, 66 Newtown, and Stop and Shop, and trying to set up the same deal. And that would give us 200 more parking spots to offer to the public for time parking. How does the board feel?
One thing on the Chase lot, Mayor, I thought that we had, while Chase does get 15 permits, they can't use more than 5 at one time. I thought I recalled that from that contract.
I don't remember reading that. Do you remember that, Vinny or June?
I do not, no.
I mean, I haven't read the contract. So.
I'm not saying you're wrong, trustee. I'm just saying I don't recall it.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
Okay. All right. But how do you feel about the concept, Tiger?
I don't really know what I think about it. I haven't thought about it enough to form an opinion. As far as the Stop and Shop lot goes, I mean, Stop and Shop is open 7 days. I don't see what the benefit to them would be. The 66 Newtown, there are a lot of spots there, but again, it is 2 separate parcels. And I don't know how that would work with the stores that are there when they're open. They're obviously not going to want random people parking. I don't know enough to form an opinion on this.
Yeah, well, maybe I can help a little bit. The 66 Newtown lot, they have employee parking along the back of the lot. There's probably 20 spots that they would issue permits for, similar to what the bank does. The only way they enforce it, right now they're enforcing it by towing and booting. And the way they enforce it, they can't tell who is there for which store. So all they do is a time limit. So basically, it would be the same as our parking lots, where we would put up our enforcement signs. Let's say that that location would be 2 hours. It doesn't matter who's in there for what reason. They have 2 hours. And that's the way this contract would be written up. And this is a benefit to the public because it doesn't, like Citarella, let's just jump over to Citarella for a second. They put a security guard at the lot, and only Citarella customers are allowed in that lot. With our system, anyone would be allowed to park in that lot, and they would be given 1 hour of time to park there. So they could go to any store along Main Street and still be able to park in the Citarella lot because it would be policed by our police department, and they would be given 1 hour. So there is a benefit for us to do this besides, besides money, obviously, there is a benefit to the public for more parking. It's not
and what's the benefit to Citarella? I mean, what does Citarella get out of this? I mean, they
Well,
might
I
have their
guess-
lot full and people can't park there. to go
Well,
to
they
their
wouldn't
store.
have their lot full because if they had 1 hour parking, you would have the turnover. And their benefit is that they don't have to put a guard at the lot. So they would be saving money there and probably a ton of aggravation because somebody might say they're going to park in there to go to Citarella and then they don't, then they have to get a tow truck. So there's a lot of aggravation that goes into it as well. But to be able to offer to our businesses 200 more parking spots by not creating any more parking lots, I think would be a real benefit to the public.
I think it's a really creative idea, and we don't really know if these businesses will go for it. But I agree with you. 66 Newtown and Citarella, they spend a lot of money in enforcing it. They have the guards and, they want to tow a vehicle or whatever. It's a hassle for them. And it would benefit us, by being able to utilize their parking without, us buying and purchasing parking elsewhere, which is difficult, if not impossible. To do in those central areas, especially. So, I think it's worth, exploring for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like the idea of being able to provide more parking for our residents. And also, if the stores are taking it because we're enforcing, that's a benefit for them. So, yeah, I agree. I like that idea.
Chris?
Yeah, if the landowners or the stores agree to it, then I think it would be a great benefit to the village. So I think that's good.
All right, so we'll keep exploring that and get back to everybody. But we need to make a decision on the Chase parking lot. Do we want to continue the agreement we have now, or do we want to get out of it?
I would say get out of it.
If we get out of it, what happens in that lot?
It'd be up to Chase to enforce whatever parking regulations they decide to have there.
Right.
So it'd be similar to Citarella. They'd have to post a guard and say this is for bank customers only. And if they don't do that, then they'll be inundated by local other employees from other stores and they'll have no parking.
We're also getting out of the maintenance business, which is the biggest.
Yeah.
thing.
The maintenance business is the big one. All of Dave's man hours and man time there, and even Pam was saying the bank would call over to Village Hall and say, hey, the parking lot's flooded, we need it pumped out. And then Dave would have to drop whatever they're doing and go over there and pump out the parking lot. And we're making nothing. I mean, it's costing us money to be in this contract. To me, it makes no sense. But
I agree with you too, to increase, for these services we're providing, such, we just recently paved it, we striped it. I know that there's a flooding issue and we have to pump that out occasionally. So increasing that monthly to $1,000 could cover some of those expenses. I guess the flip side to that is that we do utilize those parking spaces, the 10. I do recall, although I don't have the contract in front of me, that we tried to negotiate more spots, for the public to use, because right now Chase has, is it 10 or 15 for their employees specifically, which they were not amenable to, but maybe we can go back to them and renegotiate. I definitely agree.
Well, that's what we're in the process of doing right now. But the bottom line is if they are not willing to negotiate, we just need a board decision to end the contract. I've already put it forward to that we're not going to renew, but I really need the board's authority to do that. Correct?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Liability for us. We're maintaining it and so forth. So sure, I would agree with you. If we can't, if they don't agree to your terms, then I think we should, discontinue the contract.
Vinny,
Yeah, I go along with that too, Mayor. I think that having it be kind of so one-sided here, that's not fair. I mean, we do have people that park there, but I think most people that park there are either going to the bank or those other two stores that are on that lot as well. And I'm fine. Let's do what our stores want us to do. I mean, if they want to change the deal, that's fine. But I think it's very one-sided at this point.
Right. Vinny, have you ever seen a contract so one-sided?
Unfortunately, yeah, and it's always government that's on the short end of the contract. So, what can I say? But no, we'll be happy if you do reach terms. We'll be happy to put together an agreement for everybody's consideration.
All right, great.
Yeah,
I'm sure Vinny has written some one-sided contracts in his career too, so.
well, you try, trustee. You try. This time, though, you guys would be on the better end.
Let's see, who do we have? Dave, can you talk about the hanging planters on the poles?
Sure. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
We are looking at a hanging basket about 22 inches in diameter. It's made right here in New York, in Auburn, and it's unique because it's a self-watering planter, which would greatly reduce our daily maintenance issues. One of the inherent problems with hanging plants is they dry out very quickly. So where this has a 2.5 gallon reservoir in it, easily watered from the ground, we'd be able to reduce maintenance and the time between watering. And we still have to determine what type of plant, and but we're just in the purchasing end of it now to get the hanging baskets.
All right, great. Marcos, you want to add anything?
Yeah, to that, no, I'm good.
All right, great. Anybody have any questions about the hanging plants?
I just
Great
wanna-
idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea and it will really look beautiful. And I would just like to give a shout out to the LVIS because we started this flower planter program with the wooden planters 2 years ago. And I want to thank the LVIS because we do it in collaboration with them. You know, they donate the plant materials and then they maintain the flowers throughout the whole summer season. I think we have 25 planters and DPW is getting ready to put them out soon. And so we appreciate their work on that as well. And I'd be happy to coordinate with Dave too, as far as the plant material for the hanging plants and, to make sure that they go nicely with what we have in the wooden planters that are on the ground. And I think it's going to look great.
Yeah, it's going to be terrific.
Beautiful.
All right, so Marcos, can you go into the next item, the beach catering, event policy, after hours, restroom fees?
Well, that was going to be, I think you know more than that on the beach catering stuff.
You talking to me?
Yes, you knew more about that. You were dealing with the caterers directly on that.
All right. So beach catering, as you know, the governor has lifted the regulations so we can have beach events. My question to the board is, I'd like to reach out to the trustees and the town trustees and coordinate with them because, again, it's their beach, and for us to be handling the events, we should be coordinating with them. The town, if you go on the trustees' website, you'll see they defer to the town's event law for locations outside of the village. So we should be doing something similar because basically we're inviting people and authorizing people to be on property that we don't own. It should really be in section 77 of our village code. And I would think that the trustees, the town trustees should be we're receiving a fee for doing this. They should probably also be getting a fee from us for using their property. So any thoughts on that, Vinny? Oh, you're muted, Vinny.
You're muted.
That's when I'm at my best, Mr. Mayor. My wife will tell you that. No, I think you're right on the policy analysis, certainly. And so, we just need to effectuate that, and the legislation does that.
Okay. All right, good. So I'll reach out to the trustees and we'll figure out how to do this. Maybe with their lawyer and you, Vinny.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Happy to do it.
All right, great.
Also, in fairness, I think Brian has had some good ideas on that too. So with your permission, I'll loop him in as well.
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay. Chris, were you going to say something?
Yeah, the one question I had for the board to maybe think about was that on any catered events that were over a certain size, I think we should try to direct them towards one of our beaches that has a bathroom, whether it be Maine, Georgia, or 2 Mile. And it's a pure safety and cleanliness issue where if someone wants to have a big party at Wyborg, like, where are those people going to the bathroom? And, maybe they can provide their own bathroom, whether it be a porta potty in the parking lot or something, or we can direct them towards those other 3 locations that have working bathrooms.
Yeah, so it's funny you brought that up because that's our next thing on our list, event policy. And I've talked to Vinny about this, and I've talked to Peter Van Scoyac, our town supervisor, about them opening their beaches as well, because for a little bit of time, the governor really wasn't clear on what we were doing with these events on the beach. I know I asked Vinny to talk to John Jilnicki at the town, and I think that's all resolved now.
I believe so, yes.
What's that, Vinny?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the town is going to open their beaches as well for catered events. So what I was thinking for catered events or events that require a permit under our rules, 50 or more, that we would only allow one event at each beach per night. So we're not going to inundate our beaches with events. And then going along with what Chris just said, I think if they want to have an event at Main Beach, obviously that's fine. We have the bathrooms. 2 Mile Hollow, it's fine. Georgia, it's fine. The other 2 beaches, I think we require them to put porta potties in whatever that ratio is per the number of people they have. Because I personally think it's disgusting that we're authorizing parties at locations that do not provide restrooms. So I think that would fall upon whoever's requesting the permit for the event, that we require bathrooms at our beaches that don't have bathrooms.
Also, Mayor, those beaches that don't have bathrooms have pretty limited parking anyhow, and may not be appropriate venues for large events anyhow, so.
Well, I mean, you have Wyborgs if you have 51 people for an event, certainly Wyborgs could handle that number of people, but they should be required a bathroom.
Yeah, and you want to also have to ensure, frankly, that whoever's providing it is licensed, insured, et cetera, so that the village is protected in that way as well.
Right. Okay.
I agree that we should have restroom facilities available at the other beaches as well, porta potties or whatever the situation may be. And in our permit right now, we charge people to keep the restrooms open, a flat fee, I think, of maybe it's hourly, $25 per hour. It's something to consider as well, to make sure, that the bathrooms are kept clean and so forth. Someone there to oversee them.
You're correct, trustee. It's $25 an hour. The board may want to reconsider that because it seems awfully low. It probably costs you more to send the maintenance person out there, so.
Right. So we're going to keep the bathrooms open later at the beaches, at Main Beach and Georgia and 2 Mile Hollow. What time are we going to keep the bathrooms open till every night? Once the permits go into effect, what do we want to do?
What time does the village close the bathrooms off in Herrick Park? Or are those open 24 hours a day?
Dave, do you know that?
No, the police secure them at, I believe it's 8 o'clock. I can double check with the chief.
I think that is a matter of regular order. The bathrooms at the beaches, we should keep them open until sundown. because that's when people start leaving the beach.
Are we having dinner at the Chowder Bowl? So maybe they need to be later.
I was thinking like 11. I don't know. I mean, people go to beach parties. They're there till a long time. 10,
Yes.
11.
I agree with Chris.
So why don't we keep all our bathrooms open until, what shift change, Chief Tracy? What's your shift change?
11.
11. So why don't we just keep them open until midnight? We'll have the squad that's coming in lock up all the bathrooms at midnight, around midnight, whatever time they get to it. What do you think, Chief?
So we can make it work. I was going to ask, what time is the last garbage pickup on the beaches?
Last year we had a late crew working, and they started their last pickup at about 9:30 and completed it at 11 when they went off duty. So it'd take them a couple hours to make the route and go to the dump.
Yeah, so when are we putting that back into place? Is that going to be soon, Dave?
We'd have to check with Jamie Toll and see when he plans it. But I believe we did it Memorial Day through, I think it was Columbus Day last year. We had the guys on.
All right, so we need to make sure that happens. But I still think it'd be better to have the Chiefs guys close them down, say at midnight.
I like that idea too, because if there's a beach party, then, they go later than 9 o'clock. I think, what does the permit say, 11 o'clock? Or I don't know what it would say, but later the better. And if we're charging people for a permit and for bathroom fees, and, we have to make sure they stay open, obviously. What are we going to do?
Right.
Send somebody else down there to close them on nights that we have parties there? And it just seems like it's too much.
Are you saying, I agree we should keep them open if there's an event at a beach, but I'm not so sure what the repercussion is about them being open every night until midnight. I definitely understand doing it on nights where we know they're going to be used. And
Well, you've got hundreds of people, or 100 people could be at Main Beach without permits individually in smaller groups, and they're going to need bathrooms. So I would keep them open till midnight. I would start May 15th that's when the beach permits go into effect, until September 15th. I'd keep the bathrooms open till midnight every night. And then when we have events, maybe then we charge for somebody to be down there to make sure I'm not sure we need to charge, really, if we're going to keep them open anyway.
Well, I think we should charge so that we can keep them open and cleaned. Again, keeping them open is a service, and again, they're going to need cleaned, and they're going to need restocking, and
True.
So I think we should charge the parties for the bathrooms, and if we say the bathrooms will be open till 11. And if the police want to change them anywhere between 11, 12, whenever they get around to it, then at least we're not tied into them being closed by 11. We tell everyone they're open till 11. And for some reason, if the police can't get them closed till the 12 o'clock shift change, then so be it.
Okay. I like that, Chris. What do you want to do with the fees? You want to go up?
$25 an hour. What is it? $25 an hour.
Doesn't even cover
I thought it was a
person's
flat
hourly
fee.
rate.
I think it should be a flat fee for the party. I know a while ago we met with the caterers and we went over some outlines of trying to streamline that process. And it's been a little while, so maybe the board has an idea of how much we should charge these parties for the bathrooms. And if it's a party for 50, the bathroom gets used 50 people's worth. But if it's a party for 150, the bathroom gets used a lot more. So I think we should think about some type of structure, or the permit costs more for a larger party. something like that.
Trustee and Mayor, what you may want to consider is taking a look at what your actual costs are for cleaning those facilities after an event. And, trying to come up with a rough amount so you make sure that at least you're covering your costs.
I think that tying the fee to the size of the event is probably appropriate, because a larger event is going to require more work, a smaller event less. And I think we should determine what the costs are and roll that into the permit. Because if you offer them, so you can have the bathrooms for an additional $50 an hour, people might say, we don't want that. Just put it all in one number and build it all into one permit fee based on size.
I agree to that. That sounds better.
Right.
We just need to know how much it costs to do a full-blown cleaning of those bathrooms, and then evaluate that number. How long and how much money does it cost to get those bathrooms fully cleaned, assuming they're in a bad shape,
Now,
Okay.
currently, Chris, at the beaches now, the beach staff cleans the bathrooms now?
Well, yes, but during COVID, I believe, Tiger, you guys on the board last year approved a separate cleaning company to go in and clean, which I thought was a great idea. So, I think we're in the middle of that. Yes, the beach staff under normal conditions, non-COVID conditions, clean the bathrooms at the beach. Now, I'm not 100% sure what we're doing this year. Marcos, do you remember? Sometimes I don't remember.
No, I'm sure I have it in my notes.
I tend to think that the company that cleans the privy, we could just, when they do the privy, we could then just move them down to the beaches and have that one company do it. I'm sure that it's not a very popular task amongst the beach crew.
Class act maintenance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the beach staff has or should have no problem maintaining the cleanliness of the beaches during the working hours of the beach. It's the after hours. Obviously, there's no beach attendants there, and the bathrooms do get used heavily because now you're going from 4 or 5 bathrooms up at Main Beach to only 2, because there are the private locker bathrooms and the lifeguard bathrooms that get used. So the frequency and the use of the 2 public bathrooms actually goes up after hours.
And just to add, the privy is cleaned by the DPW staff during the work week, twice daily. And then on weekends, we have a contract with a service that takes care of it twice a day on Saturday and Sunday.
All right, so we can use that as a good example of what it would cost, Dave, to clean the bathrooms, because they do it on the weekends. So
yes, and we can also take a look at the costs for to clean the bathrooms at the beaches last year during the COVID.
okay,
I'm sorry.
all right. So we'll incorporate all of this, I guess, Vinny, into that.
The name of the company is Class Act Maintenance that does that, and you're looking roughly at around $300 if you wanted them to do it. But the village right now is currently, looking into whether we should do seasonal employees, to clean the beachheads, to be focused on that, dedicated employees, another custodian, so to speak, for that.
Well, right now we charge $500 for a catered event at the beaches. So if we are going to add, we're going to add $300 to that fee. I mean, we're already double what the town charges.
Well, although if you're paying $300 for twice a day, then $150 is once a day. So you would have it once after the event. That would be a $150 charge if
Okay.
I'm getting the numbers right, not 300, right? Am I correct, Marcos?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good.
So,
All right, so we could
wait,
add 150 to that fee.
Marcos, it's Dave, it's $300 for that crew to clean 2 bathrooms. Is that correct? Like the men's and the women's, they go in there and they clean one side, they clean the other, and that's $300.
For
Once.
twice a day, as I understand it.
Is it once a day or twice a day?
I do not have the figures for Main Beach.
Twice a day, because we were going to have them do that over the weekend.
Well, what's the privy numbers? I mean, it's the same kind of size
So-
bathroom.
So
So
why don't we do this? Once we have that number, why don't we just add that to our permit fee? Is that fair?
if
Good
they
by me.
charge the same, what if they charge more?
Well, we're still making $500 for a permit for the beach, so plus 100 and say it's $150 for
Well,
the bathroom use.
How about we get all the numbers and then in the next meeting, we can bring it back up. I mean, they're not going to be open by then anyway.
That's true. Okay, let's do that.
It'd be nice for them to be clean. I'd rather take the fall for charging more money than having disgusting bathrooms up at the beach. I mean, I would rather that. I mean, nice, clean bathrooms is important to everybody. And, you know, if we have to bump up the fee $100 or $50, then I'd be more happy with that.
Well, look, what we could do too, Chris, I was just thinking about this. We're going to require people at Wyborg's and Egypt to bring their own bathrooms. So I don't know what that fee is.
It's
But we
not
can
our
offer
problem.
that as an option to the other beaches. You can either bring your own bathrooms or you can use the ones we have for X amount of money. You know,
Yeah,
so
but the problem would be is that if someone brings their own porta potty and you have a choice between using our bathroom or the porta potty, most people are going to use our bathroom. I mean,
that's true. And we're open anyway. So
they're open anyway. So I think that, you know, you have to use our bathrooms and they're cleaner too. Like what if someone has to change a baby or someone has some type of reason to go to the bathroom that would have to change, or I don't know what.
right.
Would be,
All
but-
right. So let's scrap that. Let's go with your original idea.
No, but again, I hate to charge more money to beach parties or events, but you know, we need to provide very clean bathrooms at the beaches. That's important.
Yeah, and part of that 500 fee that we're going to charge part of that is going to go to the trustees as well, I'm assuming. So.
All right. So we'll talk about it next month. We'll get the figures and then I think the whole board it'll be easy to figure out.
Okay, good. Anybody else before we move on?
Yeah, I just think we need to talk about the size of these events in terms of the permitting. If somebody's going to have a 15-person party, I don't think that's worth, you know, $650. If someone's going to have a 200-person party, I think that should be more than $650. I think we should, you know, because the size of the party determines the use of the facility. I think that we need to work that in.
It's almost like our tent fee, you know, where we had the different size tents.
Didn't we have that, Marcos? I remember going over that permit with you or with Jerry about a tiered system on the cost of the permit for the beach, whether it be you don't need a permit if it's under 20, you know, 20 to 50 something, 50 to something, and then over 100. And then, you know, if it's over a certain number, it's got to be, you know, looked at by, you know, Marcos or someone's got to, you know, you just can't throw a permit into Village Hall for a 500-person wedding on the beach. You know, that's going to have to be a special permit or something. I don't know.
We did. And then I think Brian Lester is currently reviewing all that right now.
All right, so let's figure this all out. I think Tiger's got a good point. Chris has got a good point. I think that some sort of formula that we can work out, because all our law says now is if it's a catered event, whether it's 5 people or it's 700 people, it's $500. So I think it makes sense to.
Unless you're a village resident.
Right, which really has.
If you're a village resident, there's no fee unless it's more than 49. But yes, right.
Yeah, we have to
Otherwise, you
figure it out.
would be charged. But village residents right now, say if I wanted to meet with a couple of people and have it catered, and we were village residents, there would be no charge for us unless there was more than 49.
Yeah, you know what we could do with that? Because again, if we're going to put this in section 77 and we're working with the trustees the way we're supposed to do it, whatever their fee is going to be would have to be paid. But if you're a village resident, our fee could be waived. You see what I'm saying, Vinny?
There I go again. Absolutely. Yeah, I completely understand.
Yeah. Again, to waive, unless we can get the trustees on board with that, but I don't think that's going to work.
I think that even if it's a village resident, we don't charge for the permit, but for the bathrooms, I mean, even if a village resident wants to have a party for 50 people at the beach and we don't charge a fee, how do we not charge them a bathroom fee? I mean, you still have to go to the bathroom.
If there were 50, they would be charged. And I agree with you that 50 and above definitely should be required to have the bathrooms cleaned. And if it's
so maybe they could pay the trustee fee and the bathroom fee and nothing else.
I think 25. I mean, 25 people, someone's going to have to go to the bathroom. I don't know. I mean, maybe 25 people have to pay the $150, and then after the 25, like Tiger said, it's 300 to 50 or so. I mean, we can work these numbers out when we discuss it next week. But 25 people at the beach, someone's going to the bathroom.
But our bathrooms will be open.
Right.
They will be open. This is for people who are having a catered event that's more than 49.
Right.
Is what we're talking about now. I mean, for 25 people, that could be an impromptu, I can meet with your family and all of a sudden we're 10 people, Chris, so
Right.
to require people, just of 25 to get a permit, I'd be reluctant to do that. And you'd have to require them to get a permit if you're going to require them to have the bathrooms cleaned. So
I agree with you, Rose. You're right. No, but I mean, again, there's a big difference between 25 and 49.
Yeah, huge. I agree with you. Okay.
And I mean, I don't even, 49 friends at a party doesn't require a permit. Maybe it's 35 or 40. I don't know. I mean, again, I just want it to be safe. And when you spend a lot of time at the beach, you see people going to the bathroom in the dunes and it's gross. And, we don't need that.
We all agree. I think that the bathrooms should stay open at the 3 beaches for sure till, 10 or 11 sundown. And if someone's having a catered event that's large, more than 49, we'll have to figure out a way, that we get compensation for keeping them open and clean. I agree.
All right, so why don't we at least get this out of the way? Hey, Chief Tracy, why don't we start, once the beach opens, we'll keep the bathrooms open until 11. And then whenever your guys can lock them up after 11 would be great. And we do the same with the privy.
Sounds good. Just one thing back to the fee discussion, just a suggestion that we correlate the time that the civilian cleanup person is working on the event nights where we're charging somebody for those facilities to be clean. I would make sure, or I would suggest that the cleanup person, the civilian, does not go home before that witching hour at 11, that they're there so that Dave doesn't have a problem at 9 o'clock the next morning. If we send the refuse person that works the beaches at night, which I think is a great idea, we should correspond our shutting those down and us working with that person to make sure we're all on the same page at 11 o'clock.
Mayor, what about having that garbage pickup? If it starts at 10:30 at night, why don't we just have those people, when they pick up the garbage, have them close the bathroom?
Because sometimes it's 9:30, Tiger. Sometimes they don't show. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think it's as consistent. That's my thought. And it's early too. You know, some people like to be at the beach party till 10 or 11. I mean,
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
I get that. I get that. But, you know, if the garbage pickup starts at 10:30, you know, that's only a half hour.
But didn't they say it starts at 9:30?
Now, the beach crew, the night beach crew comes on at, I want to say 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They make about 3 rounds, plus the hotspot cans in the business district. So their final pickup, they go off duty at 11 o'clock. So their final pickup, they're going to start 9:30ish to be able to make the rounds, get everything hit, get to the disposal area, get the stuff off the truck. We don't keep the refuse on the truck overnight because of the potential for fire, because of the beach fire ashes. So it's very important for them to get the material off the truck. So they're finished up at 11 o'clock.
All right,
Dave,
we're
is
gonna
there a
have to
last
do
run
it.
on the beach before they go home?
They're just doing beachheads, and the last run usually starts about 9:30.
Gotcha.
So they're completed by 11 o'clock, and that includes the cans in the business district. Not all the cans, just our cans that have the potential for overflowing. Starbucks, Golden Pear, Scoop, which is not there. We don't have to worry about that this year. But
Gotcha.
Dave, you're gonna have the part-timers on 5 to 1s?
Yes, and that's so that they can make sure the fires are shut down, and
Right.
we've kind of stole that idea actually from Southampton Town. They
So,
hit all the
Let's
beaches
just-
before they turn in, and they make sure everybody's off the beaches.
right, so they would be the easiest people to lock up the bathrooms then.
Yeah, not a problem for us. We'll be there
Okay.
regardless. We'll make it
All right,
work.
good. All right, I think we've beaten this to death. So, are we good? Can we move on?
Yes.
All right. Marcos, can you talk about the centennial celebration that was supposed to be?
Yes, we added that recently due to the governor's orders. That's allowing more and more, large gatherings. And I put that also in the tentative budget, just in case, if the board agrees to, to celebrate our centennial this year instead of, punting it back another year. So that's up to y'all. And I put $20,000 in there. And I think, Mr. Mayor, you were interested in having the East Hampton Historical Society manage this as well.
Yeah, we've talked to Maria Van. I haven't actually gotten an answer from her yet, but I would like the Historical Society to take the lead on this. And I know they've raised some money already, but I really think this is their expertise, if you will. I think that they should manage this entire event. What do you think, Hugh?
Well, when we were planning this, there was going to be a parade, and Bess Rattray became the head of the parade committee. So I think you need to check with her to see what happened. I mean, everything got canceled. Does she think that she could put a parade thing together? Now, she's not part of she can work with the East Hampton Historical Society, but I think Marcus should reach out to her just to see what her plans are and what she's got left from her parade.
Yeah, well, I think Maria Van was on the original committee.
Okay.
So I was thinking if she would take the lead, she could reach out to everybody who was on the original committee and get their input and get it going again, if they choose to do it.
Yeah.
I know they've also raised about $20,000 towards this. So,
Hey, great. Okay, well,
Right, and as a 501c3, they're trying to get that money off their books as well. So it's in their interest to celebrate this, immediately. And then we have the LVIS, I think, coming up next year, I think 125th anniversary, and then as well as the Historical Society. And I'm sure they want their own time, in a sense, to celebrate.
But the village administrator has put money in the budget for a village contribution to this too, correct?
yes.
Correct.
Good, right, good. Okay.
And Hugh is right. Bess Rattray really ran the parade committee, and then there was another centennial committee that was comprised of many different entities from the school, the library, Guildhall, the Historical Society. And I did receive many inquiries to see if we were going to be celebrating the centennial. I'm happy that we're contemplating doing it in September of 2021, the 101st anniversary.
Right.
So I think people will be really excited to do that. And Bess is really, she was great. And she has a lot of knowledge that she had already done and put some things in place. So yeah, it would be very exciting to have it be a go.
Hugh, we have an opportunity, I believe, because I think the actual date, right, of the incorporation was September 25th.
Yeah, I think you're right. Mm-hmm.
So we have a real opportunity. I know last year we were going to celebrate on the Saturday that it fell on the 26th. So I think it's kind of, meant to be. I think we can do it.
What day is the 25th? What day is it?
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
All right, so we're still waiting to hear back from Maria.
Okay.
See if they'll take the lead on it. So that's just, everybody's in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we have the tentative budget, which we have Dominique, we have Susan, and we have Marcos all on the line here. I've gone through this. It looks wonderful. I think they've done a great job. It looks like if you look at page, whatever page it is, it's the graph. We're gonna present the lowest tax increase in the last 5 years. So I'm really proud of that. I'm happy that Marcos and Dominique were able to put that together. And so we're open for discussion now. If anybody has questions, Marcos, Dominique, Susan with payroll, they're all here.
I just want to say that I want to thank the village board as well. This year we approached it differently than in years past. And, we included the village board, most importantly, the department heads. And I think I really do feel it brought a much more enriched level of conversation as to our budget, the goals that they had for their own department to deliver high quality services for village residents, the mayor's goals. And I don't know, I think everybody liked it. So they enjoyed the process. But two things of note would be Captain Anthony Long is resolution number 1, retirement after 28 years, and Bob Hefner after 10 years.
Does anybody have any questions for them?
Yeah, I have a question. Looking at the Domini House budget, there isn't any money in there.
Correct. The Domini shop's not done yet.
Right.
So I felt it a bit unnecessary to add an exhibit budget to a building that's not yet done. And we have to fund about $700,000 for it, and which should be another discussion in July with our bond conversation that I know I spoke to briefly. So we're looking, obviously we want to finish the Domini shop, but I think it would be putting the cart before the horse here.
Okay, got it. So you're going to be talking about funding for it in July.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, of course.
We have Hugh, just so you know, we have and the public is aware, we have a huge amount of projects and capital expenditures that the board needs to look at and decide what we want to put into a bond. And that's all going to be discussed coming up in July. And then the board will decide what we're going to fund and what we're not. So obviously the Domini is top of the list because it's a very worthwhile project that's basically half completed, and we don't want to leave it incomplete.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You got it. Anybody else?
I can leave.
I just wanted to say that when I went through the budget, I thought it was a very good budget. I think that the added revenues, which are important to keep this budget at the lowest tax increase level in a long time. My hats are off to Dominique, Marcos, Susan, everybody in Village Hall. I thought it was a very good budget.
Yeah, and it's very, very conservative as well as far as the income goes. We think there'll be even more income than they have estimated, but to be conservative and make sure that we're not getting into any trouble, they did an excellent job. I'm so proud of that team.
It's extremely conservative. I can promise you that.
Right. And the best part about it is the new cover.
Yeah, it looks great.
I can't show it, Marcos. Can you show it?
Sure.
The new improved cover, the bound edition, very nice, very nicely done. I think.
And
the
with
village
this
residents are
surplus,
very happy.
all taxpayers can expect a rebate check, right, this year?
Oh, we have a lot of projects, Tiger.
Just to be clear, it's not a surplus, it's an unappropriated fund balance.
Yes, no surplus.
Yes, it is.
Designated.
All right, do we have, Jody, anybody from the public?
There are no colors on the line right now.
It's always a sign that we're doing a good job.
Yep.
Mayor, may I just say something before you get too far away from the budget?
Sure, Dave.
I'd just like to thank the board for the opportunity to actually actively participate in a discussion with the village administrator and the treasurer, and to work out our budget and balance it in such a way that it works for all the department heads and my department especially. It's very refreshing to be able to have that interaction with the treasurer and with the administrator, and work it out in a reasonable and equitable manner for everybody. And I just really appreciate the opportunity to do that.
That's very kind, Dave. Thank you. All right, anybody else before we move on? All right, here we go. We're going to go into the resolutions now. June, are you ready to go?
Yep.
All right, you're on.
Number 1, adopt resolution number 35-2021, accepting the retirement of Police Captain Anthony Long effective December 31st, 2021, and authorize the payout of $272,379.55 for accrued time as of April 30th, 2021. To be paid from the Employee Benefit Leave Fund on May 6th, 2021.
All right, I'd like to just thank Tony for his 30 years of service to the police department. He did a great job when I was chief, and we wish him well in his retirement. Do you have anything you want to say?
Oh.
Chief Tracy?
Yes, Tony's been with us since he was a TCO many, many years ago. And I must say, and I know Mr. Mayor, as you can attest, he gave a lot to the village of East Hampton, a lot to the police department. He was instrumental in updating our 911 system and our radio communication system, which is among the finest in the area. And he was also a crucial player in developing our accreditation program and formulating our rules and procedures over the years, not only for me, but for yourself as well. And his retirement leaves a significant space in the department that we're of course going to run forward with the ball, but he will be missed by myself and by the staff a great deal. And we thank him for his many years of service, but also his guidance over the years.
Thanks. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
And number 2's been slightly revised. Adopt resolution number 36-2021 to authorize $276,781.80 to be transferred from the Employee Benefit Liability Fund to the General Fund.
Motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 3, adopt resolution number 37-2021 to amend the 2020-2021 budget to increase estimated revenue $123,276.67 for expenditures related to the Northwest Fire Substation and the reimbursement received from the town of East Hampton.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 4, accept the $19,980 proposal received from MCD Finishes to prep and paint 108 108 streetlight posts on Newtown Lane and Main Street.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 5, accept the $8,000 proposal received from MCD Finishes to soft wash paint Main Beach Pavilion.
So moved.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 6, accept the $15,000 proposal from MCD Finishes to prep and paint all white trim throughout the exterior of Main Beach Pavilions, including doors, frames, and railings.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 7, authorize payment in advance of audit claims for public utility services, postage, freight and express charges, medical insurance premiums, employee reimbursements, and the village attorney for the 2020-2021 fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 8, approve the pay rate increase for seasonal laborer Fernie Londano to $30 hourly effective May 3rd, 2021.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Notice to bidders for cell tower space at 1 Cedar Street with the bid opening to be held on June 15th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 10, approve the attendance and reimbursement of reasonable and necessary expenses incurred for trustees Rosemary Brown and Sandra Melendez to attend the NICOM 2021 annual meeting in Bolton Landing, New York, June 9th to June 11th of this year.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 11, employ 2021 seasonal beach staff as listed in Beach Manager Jamie Tulp's April 30th email.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Notice for a public hearing to be held on May 21st, 2021 at 11 a.m. at the Emergency Services Building, 1 Cedar Street, East Hampton, New York, or via video conferencing if necessary, at which time all persons interested will be heard for introductory number 10-2021, a proposed local law authorizing a property tax levy in excess of the limit established in General Municipal Law subsection 3-C.
I have a question about this. Susan, should we hold off on this? Marcos?
No, this is a safety precaution that we got to do. It's done every year, all 10 years that the tax levy's been in place. So no, we're not going to pierce it whatsoever, but this is just a safety measure so that we won't get penalized in next year's budget. That's all.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 13, notice for a public hearing to be held on May 21st, 2021 at 11 a.m. at the Emergency Services Building, 1 Cedar Street, East Hampton, New York, or via video conferencing if necessary, at which time all persons will be heard for introductory number 11-2021, a proposed amendment to Chapter 267, Vehicles and Traffic Beach Parking, to clarify the requirement of beach parking permits for all parking at the village beaches.
Just to fill everybody in on this real quick, there were two subsections in the village code that were kind of a loophole that would allow people without beach permits to park in the handicap parking behind the pavilion in lot number 1. So we're just cleaning up that language to make it clear that you need a beach permit in order to be in lot 1, and then certainly you can use the handicap permit.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 14, notice for a public hearing to be held on June 3rd, 2021 at 11 a.m. at the Emergency Service Building, 1 Cedar Street, East Hampton, New York, or via video conferencing if necessary, at which time all persons interested will be heard for the 2021-2022 budget.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Okay, I had to correct the date on this one. I typoed, I'm sorry. Notice for public hearing to be held on May 21st, 2021 at 11 a.m. at the Emergency Services Building, 1 Cedar Street, East Hampton, New York, or via video conferencing if necessary, at which time all persons interested will be heard for introductory number 12-2021, a proposed amendment of Chapter 267-3, Vehicles and Traffic, Parallel and Angle Parking, in reference to Newtown Lane and the Rudishan parking lot.
So
I'll make a
moved.
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 16, notice to bidders for the replacement of the Village Hall fencing with the bid opening to be held on May 25th, 2021 at 2 p.m.
So moved.
So moved.
All in favor? Passed
Aye.
and carried. Passed and carried. That concludes our resolutions for today. Just to check one more time, is there anybody on the phone, Jody?
There are no callers on the line right now.
All right, great. So we're going to close this hearing, but first we're going to go into executive session after this meeting. If there's anything we need to bring back to the public, we will reopen this hearing or this meeting. Can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.